I mean, first of all, well done, you. I mean, that's extraordinary. The thing that I've often wondered about is when you are from a country like the Dominican Republic, and you've had the benefits that you've had in terms of your upbringing. Why isn't there greater, or why aren't there more people that are doing what you do in business to create the kinds of companies that can have a positive impact on the community around them? Because it's so visible. In a country like Canada, where I am, it's easy to kind of walk past the homeless people in the street because the vast majority of people are, live like me. But in a country like where you come from, it's so evident, what you experience. I'm just wondering, why isn't there, just an opinion, obviously, why isn't there more people like you doing more work like you do?
Well, what my opinion goes along with what I said at the beginning part of our chat, which is, I think that people really respect success in business in the third world. So in the past, some people have made unethical choices and been successful in business, and those people are respected. And I think that there's a great opportunity for having success in an ethical business or in an impact-driven business and being respected. And that is my goal. Why aren't there more people doing this? Because we are, in our opinion, we are innovators when it comes to social impact in the entrepreneurship space in this country. The traditional modus operandi of the country is you have, these big companies that basically have a charitable arm. And if anything has become apparent in the past, 3 decades, is that charities don't work. Charities are a Band-Aid. They don't really help the patient. In my opinion, at least, there is some great work, charitable work that is done, and I'm not saying let's do away with charities, but the one thing that we can't do is rework the entire capitalist system. We can't do that,
right?
Because that would be too expensive. It would take a lot of time. So what we need to do is find out a way where the capitalist system works to bring people that have been left behind closer to a point of progress. So the whole world, there's a lot of progress that has happened in 20 years in the world, and half the world has been left behind. And so we've got to find out a way where the opportunities in developing new businesses that can't be faced by these major corporations who are involved in these charities and these things are put into entrepreneurial business models. So I think that's a very elegant way to address some of the problems.
I'm also curious if, having found this new direction and that became so fundamental to the whole focus of the business as to what it would return and its philosophy. How did that, this support of single moms as in terms of what the core of your workforce would form, how did that change the nature of the business? Like, what was the fundamental impact in terms of the product, the marketing? How did that change and benefit the business?
The marketing, as I said, became about storytelling, and so it would get us in the door in people's homes for them to use the product. Probably, I don't have a way to quantify it, but I would say that the majority of people fell in love with the product because of the fundamentals behind it. And we were very good at telling that story, and we got amazing help. So what happens is, and one of the questions that you asked me previously is, what is it that you will take along with you after you've done with this experience? This may sound very romantic, but I cannot argue with something that has become true in my life. Is that if you are kind in your actions, kindness and life kind of returns it to you.
Yeah.
And so we've tried to be as kind as possible in generating our businesses, as kind to the environment, as kind to the people who participate in making our products or work or doing the work for our land, and in kindness in offering these opportunities to our client base to affect impact in the world. And I am of the opinion or theory that these things are circular and they come back to you in growth, and you get people who try to help you get your story told. And so I can only speak from my position of experience, but that is the main impact that we've had from being this, other than the transformational impact we had on these vulnerable women from very impoverished communities.
Do you know, it's, I mean, first of all, again, bravo. I think it's such an enlightened way to think, and more of us need to think this way. And in a way, you know, we are in somewhat of a similar journey. I grew up in a poor family here in Canada, which, you know, is no comparison to where you come from. But the thing that I credit, and why I do the work I do and why this program exists, is because I really believe in the transformative potential of business. For me, business made all of the difference. And, you know, and not simply because, you know, I was able to go to school and I was able to get educated and then suddenly get a high paying job. It actually wasn't about that. It was the fact that it enabled me to be my best self. It enabled me to use, you know, as somebody who came from family like I did, you know, and I've taught now at wealthy schools and at poor schools, people that come from less privileged backgrounds tend to be better lateral thinkers, in my experience, because they've got to navigate life in a different way. And so, you know, from where I was coming from, my lateral thinking skills and my creativity was really, you know, honed through business. It gave me a playing field that really played to where I was coming from. And so what I'm really trying to do through the work, and, you know, I'm right in the middle of developing a program actually with the goal of getting 10,000 businesses started in the next 3 years, is in recognition of the fact that you can take people that come from backgrounds without an education, you can teach them the skills that you and I now take for granted and help lift them out of their circumstance. So, you know, I so admire what you're doing. And, you know, and I think there's no question, is, you know, that old saying that if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him to fish, and he'll eat his whole life. I mean, I think that your lesson in this business is certainly proving this point, is that there's the potential to give people a hand in what they're doing, and it changes everything. So just in respect of time, I know that you made a decision to sell a significant stake in SoloCoco and shift your direction into a new, incredibly exciting area in sustainable agriculture. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, because I know, when we first spoke, you were saying that you had been invited to speak at a conference, and you spoke, and that was the moment when this new direction presented itself. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, sure. When I started the first company related to coconut, Clark's Organics, which is the producer of SoloCoco, it was a vertically integrated company because it's certified organic and fair trade, and so you need to manage the production chain from start to finish. And so this had a very successful commercial development, eventually, I sold a significant participation in the company, and I was driven to impact then how the actual coconut or cacao that we use in the products is created, farmed. You know, who are the people farming it? How can we innovate in a way, in a scale that by the same mentality can impact the way agriculture is done in this country. And so kind of set a baseline. Okay, we don't have to do monoculture. Monoculture is when you pack as much as of one species on farmland as possible. This has been the cornerstone of modern agriculture, and it's also its demise, because you're concentrating one species where in nature would have a multi-species ecosystem. And what happens is then you're attracting all kinds of pests and phytosanitary problems that in nature would have its counterbalance. And so what happens is you're forced to use an external factor such as pesticides to control these phytosanitary and pest problem that have presented themselves because of the system that you are using. And so we spent years researching how to combat this mentality and come up with a innovative or base ourselves on the more innovative regenerative agriculture mentality, where you have food forest and you have you still employ precision agriculture methods to a much more biodiverse setting, so an agroforestry permaculture setting, and still be very profitable. And as I was preaching to the so-called choir about these developments, again, providence or kindness, whatever you want to say, the desire to impact change for the better in the setting that I work with has provided us with the resources to really put some of these ideas and theories into practice very successfully. So again, I'm sitting down, I'm buckling down to try to impact the baseline of a major industrial activity in the country, which is agriculture. Yeah.
And so what is the business now, and what impact is it having?
So what we're doing is we're developing approximately 3,000 hectares of land in this biodiverse agricultural control plan system. And we've created about 600 jobs of people that work that would usually be working in an environment where they are exposed to agriculture, making minimum wage, being very, very being exposed to very unfavorable conditions because of their social background. So we are providing these people with fair trade wages. Again, everything is fair trade certified. We're giving these people the tools and the know-how to bring back. These are usually smallholders that we have working for us that also come in and work our systems. So we are educating the community of workers on how permaculture and regenerative agriculture is actually a better solution, cheaper solution in the long run for them to run their own crops. So it's exciting. It's a lot of work. It's a little different than what I did with developing the industry. But what can I say? I just can't sit still. So yeah. So I will see how long this wave takes me before I am enchanted by another area of impact.
Well, actually, that was going to be my question: is what does an exit plan look like for Daniel Dalet?
That's the hardest question you've asked me, because it's the one thing that I haven't really thought about. An exit plan for me, I will never stop trying, Robert. So no matter what, I'm not a person to sit still at home and waste away. So what I would like to see when it's my time to settle down or exit or slow down or whatever you call it, is that the things that I've touched have been made moderately better than what I found them. Better in the context of not only humanity but efficiency, because I think that if you can mix both, you can mix impact and efficiency, then you have the key. Then you have the key for a good, clear path to go forward and bring some more people into progress.
Well, you know what, I think it is a privilege to speak to people like you, Dan. And my last question is this. So, this program is about inspiring people to get into business or inspiring people to find new heights within their own business by being inspired by people like you. So if you think generally, what would be the 3 lessons that you've learned along the way that made a difference in terms of your personal satisfaction and the impact you were creating? What were the big lessons, if you can think about that made the difference?
There's 3 lessons that stick out in my mind. One is be mindful of your decisions. So be mindful in the way and the motivations that are leading you to your decision-making process. Because as I said, in my opinion, it's all circular and it will come back to you. So that's one thing that's been proven to me. Be mindful of who you partner with. Some people do not have the same motivations that you have. So before you bring somebody into what will be the effort of your lifetime or the effort of your next decade or the effort of your next 5 years, whatever it is, be sure that they are aligned or share at least some of the motivators and drivers that are leading you to create the action, to take the lead in the first place. And be sure that in the context of where we are now as a society and as a species, be sure that the activities that you're going to involve with are sustainable in the long run for the rest of us.
Yeah, those are great lessons, man. So listen, Dan, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. And it was a privilege to meet you 4 years ago and a privilege to speak to you again. So thanks so much for making the time for this conversation. And I wish you all the best, my friend.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me.
Thanks, buddy.
I hope you found some inspiration in Daniel's entrepreneurial journey. I'd like to give a huge shout out to the Innovation Hub at Carleton University, who supports the translation of ideas into exciting business ventures and makes this series possible. If you'd like to find out more about their great organization, visit www.carleton.ca/innovationhub. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more stories from exceptional creators. Thanks for paying attention.